look at me now, I look so healthy, but I was given away when I was 2 months old because I had sickle cell.
I was born with common variable immune deficiency disease, which means that I don't have a healthy immune system.
I have autoimmune disease and kidney failure. My faith is what got me through a lot of the tough times when I was sick.
That's why this transition program and the transfer of care piece of it is so critical, because they can literally fall off a cliff.
So a lot of times you'll hear people talk about CCS as a form of insurance, which it is, and it stands for California Children's Services, and it is a state-funded insurance initiative to provide health coverage to young people who have certain special health care needs.
For those that are in need of ongoing and regular care, those that have chronic illness and disability.
When you become 21, you'll be leaving Children's Hospital and you won't have your CCS anymore.
More and more data emerging that have shown, these high rates of morbidity and mortality, for these chronically ill kids that are unnecessary.
And once we get that letter that give you that 4-month gap saying, hey, at the age of 21, we no longer will keep you under our care and coverage.
But the problem then follows what happens next. And that's where we see the biggest gap in service from medical to social services is what happens when those pediatric patients now become adults.
Transition is the process of preparing for adulthood. And, we define transition broadly. We define it not just about, a young person and their family preparing for adult care systems.
I didn't want to just focus on their disease, even though that's an important part of their lives. I really wanted to also spend time on what are their career goals, what are their relationship expectations, what are their educational goals, how do you achieve that?
I'm 22 years old. I go to school full-time, studying psychology. I plan on transferring to the University of Alabama. After I graduate, I plan on hopefully being a school counselor.
I've always loved going into music business like every other teenager that plays an instrument. I live with my grandmother, my aunt and uncle, and then we have 3 dogs.
Family is incredibly important, and we find that the kids that have families fare better, because they have that support available.
My family, well, I don't have much family, let's just say that. My biological mother was actually addicted to crack, and so I had just going through withdrawals coming out. I was actually adopted into this family that took me in when I was 2 months old. My parents passed away when I was very young. My sister took care of me since I was 9.
Some of the really unique challenges that confront transition-aged young people is, I think it's hard for anybody if we all think back to when we had to move from adolescence into adulthood and not being so dependent on your parents. And when you have on top of it that maybe you've been told when you were younger that you could die, I think it's natural for that parent to really want to hold on. And the young person, I think, can feel a little conflicted too.
In transitioning from children to the adult, I was always there with him. If he was in the hospital a day, I was with him a day. If he was there for months, I was with him for months. And I was always there for him, advocating, They wanted to do something for him. I needed to know what you're going to do and why you're going to do it and what medication you're going to give him.
Like any young person, they've got normal developmental issues going on. I'm not a little kid anymore. I want my parents to back off.
I was sneaking out of the house like a typical teenager and going to gigs, and
every single night he had to be on dialysis for 10 hours. And that would cut into his time trying to be away from home or trying to stay overnight with his friends or anything.
When my friends would have something going on and they'd be like, a night event, I would be able to go for a little bit, but then I'd have to come home and miss the rest of it. Best way, for me, I'd always tell people when they ask me that, it just sucked. There's no way I best describe it as.
But one of the things that we've found, and it's unsettling, is that a lot of these young people, especially with illnesses or conditions that are not visible, is that they keep that information, keep that to themselves. They may have a group of friends, but very few who actually know that they're, dealing with a chronic illness or a disability or something that, is a serious threat to their health.
My friends, they're cool. I'm not, I have a lot of friends, but I don't call them off. Well, no. I'm close to only a certain amount of people. I'll keep my circles.
Transition includes an ability to understand the medications and the treatment requirements of their illness, so that they can be able to advocate for themselves when they do enter a less forgiving system of care.
It was a learning experience based on me educating certain of the nurses about the proper care for us.
And there's very little that's known in the medical community about sickle cell disease and how to treat it. What we do know about sickle cell disease is that it is extremely painful.
I tell people, imagine the pain of someone who's hitting you over with a sledgehammer in one same area over and over again.
One of the issues that relates to this pain is that there are a lot of physicians, a lot of ER docs that just don't really believe that that pain exists.
Nurses feel that with the pain level that we're addicted to the drugs and we need this, and it's like an unspoken, I sometimes tell people I wish I had the power to touch someone so they know at that moment how I'm really feeling, because it's unbearable, the pain.
It's really hard to have a young person engaged and feel like there's hope for the future. Why would you take your medicines if you don't feel like there's hope for the future, right?
When I first got my kidney transplant, for the first week, I wasn't really on top of my medications. And so that played a factor into me losing it. And the feel of the morphine, when I first had it, I liked the feel of it, the high it gave me. And I was in pain, and I was in a dark spot, and I went searching for that high and couldn't find it. And so I went to dark places to find it, and then that's when I ran into an old friend that was on heroin. That's how I kind of got into that.
These young people are developing as young adults. They have not just their healthcare needs, but they begin to experiment with substances.
Like, they're going to transition somebody out, they really should be talking to us about, is this young person really ready? Because when I ask them, when I ask the specialty care providers, how are you making that decision? They're like, well, if they're really together, then we go ahead and send them out. Well, sometimes you don't know that they have significant substance use issues going on, that they still got mental health issues, that they are struggling still with understanding their disease.
And for them to say, well, you're 21, good luck. The premium and copay of having a pre-existing disease, it was too high for me to afford. And then I went through the process going through Medi-Cal. Did the application, they denied me because I'm too high functional. And it was to a point that I actually made myself sick. I forced myself to get sick so I can get some kind of care. I wanted to be in a hospital 3 times in a year so I can qualify for that program. How crazy is that? I went 3 or 4 times, I could never get it. I would appeal, nothing. Here's doctors that know you have sickle cell. And you walked in the hospital and get evaluated, and they're like, oh, no, you don't meet the requirements. I gained weight, I came into a very severe depression mode. I felt like I couldn't get medical coverage. I'm so young, I'm just trying to survive. And that's why I got into the health industry. I found ways to keep me healthy longer than I have ever had my entire life, and so forth.
I was getting them infusions every month, all the way up until I was 21. The infusion stopped. The reason the infusion stopped, because the insurance stopped. These infusions were about $3,000–$4,000 a bottle. There was no way I could afford that. at all. And it's like, stop crying. I've been getting sick more, and it's like, it's nothing I can do about it. The sickness definitely affects, especially when it comes to school. I had to drop out a whole semester of school because I was in the hospital because of me being sick. And it really upsetted me, kind of, like, because it's like, school is something I want to accomplish. Something I want to accomplish, and me being sick, it throws me back. I feel like every time I get sick, it pushes me back, and I'm not able to do the things that I want to do.
It just makes me feel so many different feelings of disgust, anger, hate, a euphoric feeling even because of the feeling I got of the high. But going through detox when I lost my kidney, it was enough to make me realize that's not where I want to go. Too much pain, too much struggle.
I know he forgets a lot of things because he's gone through all these dramatic things. But see, I don't forget. I don't forget because I've seen it and I've been there with him through his pain. And it's very hard. It's very hard.
There's consequences for everything we do. And I learned that through going to church. And I looked around and I found music ministries. And it's just for me, the best expression was just to sit down and play my guitar. Would write poems, and now when I'm on stage playing, I get a better high than I was when I was on doing drugs and taking heroin. I believe if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be here to be able to give testimony and help out with your documentary today.
So I'm grateful for that.
First crisis I had after being 21 without any medical coverage, I couldn't even get out of my own bed, you know, and I had pneumonia, and there's so many drugs, and they give you needles and shots and taking your blood, and it's just a lot to endure. Well, you get the bill for sure.
How much was your bill?
My bill was $46,000. It just, what do you do? And you think it's common sense, and they're like, oh, this girl doesn't get sick very often. Last time she was in a hospital was like 5 years ago. Let's get her on here. I'm seeing it now. They want you admitted 3 times. This is our qualification. 3 times be sick. Then we take you serious. Times that 46,000 times 3, I don't think I would want to put myself through that debt. That bill just kind of made me, I mean, if personal level, I actually have to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy because there's no way I can afford about $80,000 in medical bill right now. It's upsetting because I feel like I'm going by the right approach, by working out, staying healthy. You're a personal trainer. You must not be that sick if you can go ahead and work out with your clients. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can't win. I felt like I couldn't win. But you want me to be on the system and then use you guys and not work. Where I just want to work. I just want medical coverage. That's all I want. That's all I want, is to be able to have that coverage, still be a human being, do my career and live the life I want to, and not use you guys.
Those pediatric physicians that have done so well in keeping these children healthy and helping them understand a lot about their disease have nowhere to go when they have to go into adult medicine. And adult medicine is not friendly.
It's not coordinated. It's not consistent. It's unreliable. It's expensive.
That's where we need more adult providers who are willing to help. You know, we've got the bridge built out halfway across the canyon. We need somebody on the receiving side to link it together. Otherwise, these kids only get so far. And then it's this big chasm they have to leap over to make it into the county system or with an adult doctor.
It's very uplifting just to get it out and to let someone else know, hey, there's hope, there's always, this is where I was then.
Okay, so I'm calling the Patients Assistant Program to see if I'm qualified.
My motivation is I cannot let this disease ruin my life. I need to go ahead and make something beautiful and better.
I can't get it with the acoustic.